I'll be reacting to I'm Kodama Kawashiri, episode 24. I'll be watching from Crunchyroll's website, and I'll be starting my reaction from the 1 minute and 30-second mark in 1, 0, go. All right, this is it, the last episode. Opens off on a good note. Humor is a little bit simple. I mean, I guess it's sort of relatable because we have those moments where the temperature. That's it? Oh, okay. I'm glad there's more. Yo, if she were to die, that would be quite the dark ending. Quantitation trust for a last meal. Normally, I mean, at least I would personally go for something sweet at the end, not in the middle. Oh man, that face. I'll be there. At the very least, I would hope this isn't her last meal. But, I gotta say, for a last episode, though, I kind of expected a little bit more, though, I'm being honest, because with the best Kodama Kawashiri episodes, it's either you get to find out more about her, or the best episodes involve her going outside of her home, or even giving a little bit more of her backstory, which I know, okay, giving a little bit more of a backstory probably wouldn't have done much for the last episode, but at the very least, our girl going outside would have been a better ending than her just contemplating what she's going to want to eat for her last meal, though. That's the thing. But in saying that, though, I guess it was in a way kind of adorable how she was pretty much moving like a chicken skewer when she was near the heater. So, I mean, I guess that's why I'll give it a 5 out of 10 this last episode, because in my scale, 1's abysmal, 5 is average, and 10 is exceptional. But for a last episode, I just expected some of the jokes in the last episode to have a little bit more punch, though, because it's, again, the last episode of the series. It'd be the last time. So, yeah. I mean, it was an okay episode, but as last episode, kind of wanted something more meatier. As for the series, as for the other things, the animation quality wasn't. Oh, and for those of you wondering, yeah, I'll give it an extra like. It has 17 likes. I'll give it like number 18 on Crunchyroll's website. I almost forgot that part. Because this last episode disappointed me that much, where it's like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot to almost press a like because I'm watching off Crunchyroll's website. Now, in saying that, I mean, the animators did try a little bit harder than usual. It still wasn't anywhere close near the opening, but at least there was some effort put into the last episode visually by Kodama Kawashiri standards, because if we're even comparing it to other short animes, this anime doesn't even come close visually to other short anime. And I don't want to hear any fucking excuses being like, oh, I'm a caveman. It's a short anime. I'm like, this has been airing in the same seasons as Chikawa, which that series is beautifully animated. So I don't want to hear any excuses for Kodama Kawashiri's budget. But now, as for the series itself, if I had to rate this one on, say, a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being abysmal, 5 being average, and 10 being exceptional, here's what I'm going to rate the series. It's a 4.75 out of 10, just a bit below average. And let me explain why it doesn't crack average. It doesn't crack average because, for one, the ending was disappointing. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm like, how can I be like, oh yeah, the ending is great? Kind of expect a little bit more punch, a little bit more juiciness with its last episode. And here's what affects it too. You had some episodes that were good, but you had so many episodes in the series where it's like, it felt like the same thing for at least the first 2 episodes, where it felt like our girl would just be like contemplating food, then eating it, and doing that on repeat for multiple episodes. So eventually you had some episodes that mixed it up, And there were some episodes in the series that were kind of good. No, that were legitimately good. Like the episodes that say involved her friend was actually nice, but they didn't do much all with that. Like this series could have an opportunity of being pretty good if maybe we would have seen maybe a bit more of her friends. And what about his sister? The series implied that his sister was at least someone somewhat major, because of her family members, her sister was like the only one that actually got a defined character design. We actually saw her face. Feels like the series was just it was just baiting, because it's like, oh yeah, the sister character. Oh, the sister character that they even bothered having a character design, and they showed her off for 2 different episodes in flashbacks. We never got to see how she actually is in current day. Was a huge missed opportunity for the series. I'm not expecting writing quality on, say, the level of Puli Puli Molka, which is another short anime series. But damn! Like, this series had potential to be really good, but it kind of messed it up, because it's like, oh yeah, you introduce these potentially cool-looking characters, but you do nothing with them. So it's like, what was the point of even showing them off? Like, things like that really do affect the series a bit. And not just that, it's like it really could have expanded itself a little bit more too, you know? And then we have our main girl being this like massive eater, but we never really see the major consequences of her eating, which could have at least led to some interesting drama or comedy. And before you'll say anime caveman, it's just an anime. It's just when it's short, there's no way it can have drama. There was an anime that existed a few seasons ago that was called Ai Suishima, where in that series, it had 12 episodes, where each episode was a minute long, and it packed in more story in its 12 one-minute episode shorts than this series did in its full 24-episode run. And mind you, that series was 12 episodes long, and it had the handicap, but you literally had an episode in that series deal with the topic of death. Other episodes dealt with comedy, but you had one episode deal with the topic of death, one episode deal with the topic of like attachments and all that. So this series literally has no excuses for it to be the way it is, because Ai Suishima, at least when it comes to like narrative for short anime, that raised my standards. That's when you have all these potentially interesting things, like seeing our main girl, pretty much Kawashiri's, that big ass buff friend, and then her sister. But then the series doesn't really do much with them, only just shows off their character designs in passing, and that's it. When you have stuff like that, I can't help but say this series is disappointing. Like, it had a lot of potential, it just ruined itself with it not utilizing its potential to its fullest. And here's another thing too that does affect this series pretty negatively, because even though, yeah, there were some episodes where the jokes landed, it felt like for every 2 or 3 mid-tier, so boring episodes, you had one good episode. And that's not exactly the best sign. It's like, holy shit. It was like more reliable for the series to have like mid to bad tier episodes and good episodes. That's what really did, at least for me, do the series in. Because there were loads of episodes where I was like, not even laughing much. Some episodes I did, but holy cow. Now, if this series would have landed its ending magnificently, I would have been at least inclined to giving this series like an average score of a 5 out of 10, but it even fumbled its last episode with like a whimper, all things considered. Like, if this would have been a middle episode, this wouldn't have been so bad, but it's the last freaking episode. So that's why I wasn't really the biggest fan of the series when it comes to the writing or even the characters. I mean, it squandered its potential from a character standpoint. Aside from that, I mean, the animation quality was bad. Let's just call it how it is. They spent all their budget in the opening, so you can't even give it any positive marks for that either. And the thing about the lack of animation quality is, well, yes, you had some episodes where some of the episode directors were able to work around the lack of animation budget. There were obviously some episodes where the lack of animation budget did affect an episode negatively. I'm going to call it how it is. It just did. So that didn't work in the favor of the series. The artwork wasn't great. Again, had this series looked like it did in the opening for every episode, then this series would have at the very least been fun on the visual front. And again, I would have bumped up my score to at least an average grade, because I was like, Yeah, some episodes were weak, but at least it would have been pleasant to look at. It doesn't even have that. It doesn't even have it's pleasant to look at. So, from a visual standpoint, this series, it's low tier. Even comparing it to short anime, like again, Chikawa, since this series aired pretty much on the same time as Chikawa, Chikawa is like a fuck. It's like the second coming of freaking Demon Slayer in comparison to this series if we're comparing animation quality. And Chikawa also deals with 1 minute episode length, so this series has no excuses. Like there are short anime that just have bigger budgets than this. So yeah, visually, save for the opening, that's the only thing I could say was visually competently produced in this series. Save for the opening, there really wasn't much to hit home about. I guess the OSTs in the series were fine though. Like I like some of the distorted sound in OSTs whenever Kawashiri does a fuck up. Though those are actually kind of added to like the comedic mood. And to the credit of the episode, the voice acting for Maui Yuki was absolutely amazing. Like literally, if it wasn't for Maui Yuki, just straight up doing amazing performances from start to finish. If it wasn't for her, this series would literally be like a 3 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10. Like she literally elevated this series. She carried this series on her back. So credit to Aoyuki. She's by far one of the best voice performers in the anime industry. And she pretty much not only did a great job, she did a fantastic fucking job. Like, honestly, Aoyuki's voice performance, it was A+ tier. Like, no doubt about it. Like, her performance here was absolutely fucking legendary. So, absolute credit to her. She was amazing. And that's the only thing I will give it praise for. I feel like if they were to dub this series in like a different language, it would 99% not even work because whoever they cast for whichever dub language, doesn't know which language, it'd be tough to top or even come close to Aoyuki's performance, where you can tell the script for the series was fucking trash, but her performance wasn't. Pretty much the only things in this series that weren't trash were some episodes in the series, some of the middle ones, Aoyuki, and the opening. Everything else in this series is completely forgettable. And that's overall. I got to give it a below average grade. I mean, I gave this series a shot. I watched every episode just to see if it was going to improve. Unfortunately, though, it didn't improve that much, and this series ended up disappointing. But anyways, y'all, these are my thoughts on the episode. And also the series in general. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you feel about the series or my reaction itself in the comment section below. Hope y'all rate the video, share it, comment, subscribe, and also be sure to hit the bell for notifications. And I hope you all have a fantastic day or night, everyone. But anyways, y'all, thank you very much for watching my video and have a fantastic day or night, y'all. Bye-bye, everyone.